Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to All Faiths Congregation. My name is Doug Cartwright, and I'll be leading our service today. And I've just discovered that this podium has a nice little cane holder, just for me. They installed it just for me. I'm sure Regina was up all night working on it. Here you will find a diverse and inclusive spiritual community where we welcome people with many beliefs. You can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and expansive heart. At All Faiths, we have more than one way of experiencing the world and understanding the sacred. And as we say every week, no matter who you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and no matter whom you love, you are truly welcome here. Is anyone visiting for the first or second time? If so, raise your hand. No? Yes? No? If you would like to know more about All Faiths, you can either see Fran Way, who I don't think is here today, or you can see one of our greeters after our service at our welcoming corner, which is just behind the folding doors. Or you can go to our website, which is allfaithsuu.org. And it's all lowercase, allfaithsuu.org. You'll find some announcements on the back of your program or order of service. It's not a program. I was just looking back on back of mine. I reuse the sheets, so it's not on the back of your program. But we would like to emphasize that we're going to decorate for Christmas, for the holidays. So if you want to sign up to help decorate All Faiths, you can do so at the bulletin board in the back. And of course, upcoming events are listed on page 2. And I do want to emphasize that all this month, we are sharing the plate with Operation Joy. So if you make your check out to All Faiths and write Operation Joy on the memo line, it will be appreciated. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
And now I've asked Lisa Leonhardt to come forward to light the chalice. And as she does so, please recite the words in your order of service. We gather together as a community of seekers to honor the interdependence of life, to respect the dignity of all, and to honor the land we walk humbly upon. Friends, let us acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the indigenous peoples of the Americas, the original nations of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Blessed be. Please now join in singing hymn 413, Go Now in Peace, as our children join the Child and Youth Program.
No children today.
Oh, no children today. No children.
Wait a minute.
Maybe some.
Maybe. Young at heart.
Yes, yes.
At this time, we would like to prepare for our service. I'd like to ask everyone. No,
No, joys and sorrows.
I'm sorry. This is Joys and Concerns.
We've had it.
Joyce and Concerns.
We hear
Good
you.
morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you here looking bright and cheerful and happy and grateful. I invite you to come forward and briefly share your joy, sorrow, or gratitude. And I suggest you line up and closely instead of waiting for each one to come forward, form a line over here and come and share with us. There are lots of things to be grateful for, and I know some of you also have sorrows, so we invite you to come forward and share. Carol, you guys come from there right away.
Well, I heard some cheerful news this morning. You all know about what happened in Lewiston a couple weeks ago. So this morning on the news they reported that the Lewiston High School Blue Devils won the state soccer championship yesterday. And of course, after that awful shooting, all during the playoffs, the motto of the team was, "Do it for the city." And they did. So that lifted everybody's spirits there. So I would like to light a candle in recognition of the amazing resilience of the human spirit.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you, Carol. We all know we need a lot of that resilience. Joan?
I have a great joy. I'd like to introduce all of you to my sister, Jean, who's here from He's here from Kansas City, Missouri, which is my hometown. Actually, she lives in Lee's Summit. Kansas City is spread out in all directions like most cities have since I was born. She'll be here for a month, and we're going to party and have a great time. So I hope you'll all enjoy meeting her. Thank you.
We celebrate our sisters.
Yeah.
Such a blessing to have them in our lives. And Carol, come forth.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to be thankful for the land that we are standing on from the Calusa people, and because it is Indigenous Month, we wanted to share.
Thank you.
At Thanksgiving, it's particularly appropriate that we remember our Indigenous people. I had a great joy. My first boyfriend was Native American Indian. He was gorgeous. Linda? Lisa.
Okay. I'm Lisa Lynn Hart, longtime member, infrequent visitor now. But I've never been on Facebook. But I watch this congregation on Facebook every week. I use my husband's account, And so I never leave a message, say hi to anybody, because it would be coming from him. And I don't, you need permission to use somebody, right for them. So I don't, but I'm usually there. But last weekend, Sunday, I'm watching the beginning, and it keeps cutting out, and there's this circle that keeps moving. And I said, what's happening? And my 2-year-old granddaughter said, it's loading, La. so it didn't load, and so I came out, and then I came back, and I missed part, I didn't get the whole service. I missed the beginning of it, and my daughter said, oh, you missed the what's going on part. Sometimes the best part. So, but I'm glad to be here for the best part.
Let's hear it for computer education. I complain about that waiting too, with that little circle going around. We form circles here, but they're much more pleasant than that little circle. Linda.
Good morning. Oh,
You're here.
here's the circle in my head. It loads, and finally I remember what it is I'm standing up here to say. Okay. The Gator football team played Missouri last night. They did not win, but they played very well and lost by only 2 points. It was an interesting, well-played game, and I'm happy for them and for me that we're doing better. Next week is the last football game that the Gators play this season. They're going to play Florida State. Oh boy. I don't wish ill on anybody, but there's a very effective Florida State player that will not be available for next week's game. So I hope we take advantage of that, and maybe we could close the season with a win. Let's all hope so. Thank you for listening.
So Linda, you don't want to light a candle for the Seminoles?
Not today, no.
Sharon?
Sharon Gray, and a couple of joys. I'm having Thanksgiving dinner this afternoon with my daughter and son and one of my neighbors, since I won't be here at Thanksgiving, or my birthday, or Hanukkah, or Christmas, or New Year's Day. I will see you in January is my second joy. So I'm going on that trip most of you know about. Thank you.
Have a wonderful trip, and may your kiddies be well while you're gone. I'm lighting a candle for Peggy J. Singh's cousin Alicia, who lives in Winter Haven. And Peggy moved back to New Mexico, but her cousin had serious surgery, and after she came out of surgery, she had internal bleeding and had to go back in for emergency surgery. And she is doing better, but keep her in your healing thoughts and prayers. Ken?
I didn't realize this was Sports Central, but I went out to Los Angeles last week and visited my brother-in-law, who has Alzheimer's. He still remembers who I am, which was why I went to visit him. Went with my niece to the Detroit Lions game and watched them beat the Los Angeles Chargers. And a winning field goal, which was right where we were sitting, which was very nice. And that was the more important thing that I wanted to tell you. But what was really heartwarming is after decades of struggles, seeing all those Detroit Lions fans, which probably outnumbered the Charger fans that were there. So.
I was sharing earlier with Linda that watching football and baseball is my meditation because I focus on the ball, I have mindfulness, and it takes away all of the troubles of the world.
Hi everyone, my name is Gordon Crook. My wife Elizabeth and I just returned to Fort Myers a week ago today, actually. And it's good to be back at All Faiths. we were lucky enough to be here earlier in the week and meet Albie. I don't know, I'm just looking forward to things like dominoes and the book club and the various social action groups and decorating next Saturday. I'll be the only person there who's been there 3 years in a row other than Regina. And so it's good to be here, particularly with all the people, and particularly my buddy Joe back there who does so much here at All Faiths. And on the recurring theme, today at 6 o'clock, I hope to be somewhere watching the Grey Cup game, which we don't know what that means. It's a 115-year-old championship of Canadian football, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be in it for the 4th consecutive year. They were upset last year, so we need revenge this year.
Good to have you back, Nani.
Nani.
Thanks for decorating.
Hi, I'm Nani Ramsey, and I'm glad to be joining this congregation. My legal name is Linda, so you can call me Linda or Nani. And I'm standing up here to say that my family is going to do Thanksgiving with my daughter-in-law's family in Northwest Florida. And so I'm going to be doing a special widows celebration at Brookdale Cypress Lake. But if anybody's got an extra place at your table for Thanksgiving, I'd love to get invited for a special Thanksgiving with one of y'all. And where I live is in the Villas area. Carlos tells me that identifies the neighborhood of McGregor I'm off of. Anyway, this is just, don't worry about me because I'm taken care of, because I have many good friends who are in the widows congregation who will be celebrating Thanksgiving. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Nani, we're happy to have you join us. She was at our newcomers orientation yesterday, and I can tell you she's had a fascinating life and career, and you would like to get to know her. I light this candle for all of you who have joys and sorrows in your hearts, and may you have a blessed and thankful Thanksgiving, and reach out to all those who cannot be here, people who are homebound, and relatives who are far away. Send them your love and your hugs.
Now, I'd like to ask everyone to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let us turn our minds and our hearts to today's service and contemplate our blessings. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my
morning, good morning. I can feel the excitement in the air. I don't know about you, but I just feel it this morning. That means I may speak long. No. Warning, warning. I'm going to share with you our opening words. But before I do that, I want to say that the opening words, the closing words, and the reading are all from the same author. So I'm just going to share a little information about her, and then I'll read it. So Robin Wall Kimmerer is a mother, plant ecologist, writer, and SUNY Distinguished Teaching Professor. SUNY, we all know, is the State University of New York College. And she is in SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry in Syracuse, New York. She serves as the founding director of the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment, whose mission is programs which draw on the wisdom of both indigenous and scientific knowledge for our shared goals of sustainability. So again, the opening, the reading, and the closing words are from her, and it's a specific book. It's called Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And I brought grass with me, but I left it in the office. But if anyone wants to see some after the service, I'll show it to you. Here is the reading. At the height of the summer, when the days are long and bright, and the thunderers come to soak the ground, the lessons of reciprocity are written clearly in a Three Sisters garden. Together, their stems inscribe what looks to me like a blueprint for the world, a map of balance and harmony. The corn stands 8 feet tall, rippling green ribbons of leaf curl away from the stem in every direction to catch the sun. No leaf sits directly over the next, so that each can gather light without shading the others. The beans twine around the cornstalk, weaving itself between the leaves of corn, never interfering with their work. In the spaces where corn leaves are not, buds appear, and on the vining bean and expand into outstretched leaves and clusters of fragrant flowers. The bean leaves droop and are held close to the stem of the corn. Spread around the feet of the corn and beans is a carpet of a big, broad squash leaves to intercept the light that falls among the pillars of corn. Their layered spacing uses the light, a gift from the sun, efficiently with no waste. The organic symmetry of forms belong together. The placement of every leaf, the harmony of shapes speak their message, saying, respect one another, support one another, bring your gift to the world, and receive the gifts of others. There will be enough for all. It's the reading, end of those words there.
And from Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, I got plenty of nuttin'. Oh, I got plenty of nothing, nothing's plenty for me. I got no car, got no mule, got no misery. The folks with plenty of plenty got a lock on their door, afraid somebody is going to rob them while they're outside making more. What for? I got no lock on my door, that's no way to be. They can steal the rug from the floor, that's okay with me, 'cause the things that I prize, like the stars in the skies, are all free. Oh, I got plenty of nothing, nothing's plenty for me. I got my gal, got my song, got heaven the whole day long. No use complaining, got my gal, got my love, got my song. plenty of nothing, nothing's plenty for me. I got the sun, got the moon, got the deep blue sea. The folks with plenty of plenty gotta pray all the day. It seems somebody when you got plenty gotta worry the devil away, away. I'm not a fretting about hell till it's gonna rise. Never worry long as I'm well. Never want to strive to be good, to be bad. What the hell, I'm just glad to believe. Oh, I got plenty of nothing, nothing's plenty for me. I got my gal, got my song, heaven the whole day long. No use complaining, got my gal, got my love, got my song.
Carol Elrod's in the audience. She told me once that you can measure your degree of disability by the number of times you have to rock in your chair to get up. And that's me. The reading today is called Surviving Through Reciprocity. Scientists are interested in how the marriage of alga and fungus occurs, and so they've tried to identify the factors that induce two species to live as one. But when researchers put the two together in the laboratory and provided them with ideal conditions for both alga and fungus, they gave each other the cold shoulder, as it were. I don't know what a shoulder looks like on a fungus, but and proceeded to live separate lives in the same culture dish like the most platonic of roommates. The scientists were puzzled and began to tinker with the habitat, altering one factor and then another, but still no lichen. It was only when they severely curtailed the resources, when they created harsh and stressful conditions, that the two would turn toward each other and begin to cooperate. Only with severe need did the hyphae curl around the alga. Only when the alga was stressed did it welcome the advances. When times are easy and there's plenty to go around, individual species can go it alone. But when conditions are harsh and life is tenuous, it takes a team sworn to reciprocity to keep life going forward. In a world of scarcity, interconnection and mutual aid become critical for survival. So say the lichens. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn number 1073 in the green hymnal, The Earth is Our Mother.
Verses 1 through 4. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, yanga, ho, yanga, hey, yang, yang. Hey, yanga, ho, yanga, hey, yang, yang. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, yanga, ho, yanga.
So we have been introduced to new mother, to new father. And we would call them Mother Earth, Father Sky, Sister Sun, brother, I forgot the brother, but Forest brother, yes. And it's a wonderful thing because without all of that, we would not exist. So you must remember, if we treat Mother Nature as if she was our relative, we would treat her so much better. So let us remember that we are not alone here, that every step that we take, there is something underneath it that's alive and giving us sustenance. It's very important that we remember. Okay, so since we've been singing kind of songs that are a little different, I'm going to give you a little song. Some of you may have heard of it before. And I'm going to tell you that it is from the Christian Bible in Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Don't be afraid. It's all right. I'll let you know now. It's all right. When you hear it, you're going to go, oh. So here we go. Give, it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Give, it will come back to you. When you give from your heart. See? Wasn't scary at all. Now I'm going to read what it actually says. And it shall be given unto you. Good measure, so we start off. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that you give, it shall be measured to you again. So I want you to think about that. Do we have any bakers here? We are all bakers, cookie makers, cake makers. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying here, right? Right? So you have your measure, you put your flour in. But you know, if you just put the flour in the top of your measuring cup, it's just sitting there. You know that you have to kind of press it down and shake it together. Because if you don't, you got all those air pockets in there. So you may think you have enough flour, but you really do not until you press down, shaking together, and just about where you want it to be. So it doesn't run over. But imagine if we were giving, just giving, knowing whenever I give that it's returned to me. And if I give a whole lot, then I receive a whole lot. It's a wonderful promise. The whole thing is it a myth or fantasy? We shall see. Years ago, prior to moving to Florida, I attended a mega church where there were at least 1,000 people in attendance every Sunday. I found it fascinating. There were no assigned seating. There were no numbers for you to find your seat. There was no order of service. There was no order of worship. And yet we all managed to figure out what was going on every Sunday. We found our seat and we were able to follow the service. Typically, the Sunday service would last 2 hours. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do that here. Not to worry. I know we all got such busy schedules in our retirement. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you today. So typically it would last for 2 hours and we were fine with that. And 1 whole hour was for the sermon or the message. Oh my goodness, it was a lecture. Yeah, you may have to take notes. You may take it home and learn something and review them later. Yeah, that's what the message is all about. I don't think many of you memorize it, but it's all right if you take notes and review it later and tell your friends and neighbors. That same 1 hour during the message was also the same hour that our children and youth would go away somewhere with all of their numerous teachers. I myself taught 3rd grade, and I had 33 students, just 3rd graders. So I could tell you that mega church was huge. And the other hour was generally what we do here, but was always a full choir. They sang several songs. Of course, there was offerings that were taken and announcements, the regular things that happen in church. So now that I've given you that picture, just imagine, think about it. Here we are in this giant church. And when it was time for the offering, the children and youth were also being dismissed along with their teachers at the same time. So just think You don't want to try and pass a tray to thousands of people. You know, people start holding a tray and looking in their pocket, and it just takes too long. So all of these thousands of people had to actually get up. And to watch these ushers or greeters, they were like, it was as if they were directing an airplane. But they had it down to a science. They knew exactly what to do, so when you came out, you got back into your seat without having to climb over anyone. And while that was going, the kids ran up, put their little dollar in it, rushed in the back to go out with their teachers. They had it going. It was just synchronized. It was a wonderful thing to watch. And I tell you, I used to watch those ushers. I didn't want to have to be dismissed because I wanted to watch how they did it because it was interesting. Like I said, it was fascinating. So now, just imagine it, what it was like. And then one more step. Imagine a potluck. Imagine a potluck, okay? But we did it. We had that down too. We knew exactly how to do that thing. And it was a wonderful thing for all thousands of us to gather together and eat food together. That's what it's all about. If you paid attention to anything that ever happened in both the Hebrew and the Christian Bible, most of the time when they got together, it was doing some sort of celebratory, let's eat food time. And that's what they did. Okay, so now that you've imagined it, and I've told you what it was like, that's just a little snapshot. But prior to visiting that congregation and joining, I thought, oh, it's just too large to meet the needs of all the members and friends. In addition to the vastness of the building, you can just get lost trying to find your way to the restroom. I thought, you know what? It's little chance of intimacy and genuine relationship building. There are just too many people. But I was wrong. My lack of exposure to mega churches led me down the wrong road. And as a result, for many years, I refrained from attending any of them. It was me. I had a misconception. But one day I did go for a visit and discovered. This is what we're going to talk about today. Yes, I'm leading up to it. Discovered. Put a pen there because I'm going to come back to that word a couple of times. So I'm there. There was a whole lot of love and camaraderie. I was like, oh, this is good. So much so that in time, I discovered the congregation. I realized I didn't really discover it. It was more like an encounter. I went in there and I encountered love. I encountered camaraderie. It was a good place to be. So here's a little better description of my first experience. The church had seating for 2,500 people, and that did not include the very large choir, the band, or almost like an orchestra, the senior minister, and the associate ministers who had to tend to such a large congregation. And somehow, the members and staff made everything look easy to serve one another. So that short chant in the Christian Bible verse that I sang a few moments ago, we sang it often, and we fully embraced the message of the song. However, as I said, is it myth or is it factual? If I give, does it come back to me, pressed down, shaken together, and running over? Do people give unto my bosom? Is that myth or factual? And then I thought, well, you know, if this is factual, then we might seriously consider giving more of ourselves, yes? Again, the question remains. In giving, do we receive the gift of reciprocity in return? And if so, how do we honor it? First, I would like to think with implied assurance, because that scripture actually implies an assurance that we would be just lining up, just to give, because we know we're going to get such a wonderful thing back. But I realize that we don't want to miss all the points in that. And that's the blessing of return. The blessing comes from other people. And there's no mention of how long you have to wait. The time period between your giving and receiving of the promised turnaround. We have no idea. This, my friends, continues to remain a mystery. And we know how we get with mysteries. We've got to solve this thing. What is this going on? I have to find out what's happening. So, in my opinion, before we dive into mysteries, think of a mystery as something friendly. Life is a friendly mystery. If you think of it that way, maybe it'll be easy as you encounter it. Because we do not have to solve every mystery that we run into. Mysteries are surrounding us every single day. And for many years, I wondered about a particular mystery. And that mystery is regarding the United States. And that it was, remember I told you the word, put the pen, discovery? That word discovery, there it is, the discovery of the Americas. And as a young person, I used to have, well, I guess you could say, simple questions, like, how can you discover something that was never lost? How can you discover something that has not been misplaced? How can you discover something that is not even missing? Like when I believed that I discovered the well-functioning and loving community in the mega church, and later realized I didn't discover this church, I encountered it. I came upon it, but I didn't really discover it. It was already there. And later I realized that I identified and encountered new experiences, just like I said, just like the Europeans must have had an encounter with America. Neither my experience nor the Europeans was really a discovery. It was something more of, I knew that it was there, because when they were coming, they already knew it was there. We know about Plymouth. We knew they knew where they were going, or they thought they knew where they were going. But they knew it was some land over there, and they also knew that land was inhabited. Very important. Basically, like I said, what happened is that they had an encounter with person, place, or thing that was new to them. Additionally, they were expecting to arrive in America, so there was no surprise. So there was no discovery. You knew it was there. You were going there. America the beautiful, the nice, beautiful new world. You see, upon the so-called discovery of the Americas, there were great mysteries, including the indigenous peoples and their civilization, who were now, as the Europeans arrived, they were living in very close proximity. And unfortunately, atrocities were committed in the name of discovery, or the international law of colonialism, generally referred to as the doctrine of discovery. There's that word. And when I started to learn about that, I had to hold on for a minute. Wait, is this for real? Is this myth? Is this for real? And I questioned, how did we get from encountering or discovering of the new world to genocide, forced relocation, religious conversion, and then somehow Thanksgiving emerged? I had all these questions. You know, as a young person, you have questions. You know, I used to ask my mother, and she would, stop asking me so many questions. Okay. Well, as I questioned, how did we get to that? And then Thanksgiving emerged. From where I stand, indigenous peoples around the world have been negatively impacted by this international law for far too long. And in case you are unaware of what the doctrine of discovery is, really short, I'm going to share this a little bit with you. This is a doctrine that was developed primarily in the 15th century by Spain, Portugal, England, and of course, the Papal Bull, the Church. The doctrine of discovery. Basically, I'm just going to squash it all together for you. It's kind of saying, finders keepers, losers weepers. That's what it's really saying. And I'm thinking, what kind of nonsense is this? That doesn't make real sense, and there's definitely no love in there. I don't know. You're trying to escape the thing, and then you come on here and put it on some other people. Finders keepers. So this doctrine, I know we may think that, oh no, we're not carrying on anymore. That's not happening anymore, but it is. This doctrine is not a relic of world history, but instead it continues to remain applicable in many countries and continues to limit the human sovereignty, commercial, and property rights of indigenous peoples and their governments, even now in the 21st century. Yes, and some of us are shaking our head. You know, if we can just squash and become invisible because we know it's happening. Many of us were taught in school that the holiday commemorates the way the Pilgrims of Plymouth, Massachusetts, fresh off of the Mayflower, celebrated the harvest, Thanksgiving, by enjoying a potluck-style dinner with their friendly Indian neighbors. That's what we're taught in school. We know it. I get the stories all mixed up. Was with the Pocahontas there? I don't know. Because I got the things all mixed up. I didn't really understand. And sometimes I think they didn't want us to understand. Yeah. In many classrooms, the youngest children may trace turkeys. You know how you do the thing, and then this is the head, and you make those little things. We were expecting the kids to do that, but they're not feeling too well today, so our children didn't come. But that was the plan, make turkey hands. Sometimes they would dress up as pilgrims and or Indians for Thanksgiving pageants. And older kids may actually study the reason the pilgrims crossed the Atlantic and how their endurance fostered America's founding values. But we know what some of those founding values may not have been so nice. Now, according to Time magazine, the online version, the first Thanksgiving did happen, and scholars believe it took place at some point during the fall of 1621 in the Plymouth colony. But that story reflects neither the 17th century truth nor the 21st century understanding of it. Rather, the American public memory of Thanksgiving is a story about the 19th century, which had nothing really to do with what happened with the Pilgrims and the indigenous peoples. Most of us are 20th century babies, and unfortunately, the 19th century version of the story of Thanksgiving is our understanding. But we really should know what really happened back then, in the fall of 1621. So I'm going to go pretty quick through here. Was there a wonderful gathering in gratitude that included both the Indians and Europeans celebrating and feasting together for 3 days, because the first one was 3 days? Yeah. Well, according to my research, Thanksgiving is documented. However, this documentation is in only 2 primary sources from a colonist perspective. So these are the people, 2, that were actually there. The first one is Edward Winslow. He was a colonist, and he was on the Mayflower. And he shared his account of the bountiful harvest and the 3-day feast with the Wampanoag, I'm trying to say the Indian name, Wampanoag, okay, I got it, people. And it was a measly 6 sentences. So his whole account of what happened on that day was 6 sentences. Then there was another guy, William Bradford. He was the governor of Plymouth Colony, and his later account was about the same length. So we got a paragraph. The evidence argues that neither one of these colonial leaders considered that the event was worth more than a paragraph. Just a paragraph. And here we are all of these years later just going for it. Ooh, Thanksgiving is about to happen. Let's eat turkey. However, as Plymouth became part of Massachusetts and the Puritans gave way to the Founding Fathers, nobody thought much about the moment. They just continued on. And then we got a president, George Washington, and he declared a national day of Thanksgiving in 1789. Remember, the first one was in 1621. And his proclamation of gratefulness made no mention of anything whatsoever related to what happened in Plymouth. So he didn't pay that any attention either, but we were going to have Thanksgiving. Instead, it was really about a day of public thanksgiving and a prayer to God for the blessings of a new nation and the new Constitution. His vision of Thanksgiving was rooted in giving thanks to God for watching over the country during the Revolution. Need I say that I don't know how these Thanksgivings keep emerging during some kind of war. You see what I'm saying? So first it was genocide, you did all these horrible things, let's have thanks. And now we're having a water revolution, let's have thanks. What are we thinking when we should be mourning? Continuing. Around 1820, a Philadelphia antiquarian named Alexander Young found Winslow's account. Remember this, he's talking about his thing all the way back in 1621. We are in 1820 now, and this guy Alexander finds the writing of Winslow. And he said, you know what? 20 years later, he saved it and then published it in the Chronicles of the Pilgrim Fathers with the fateful footnote, quote, "This was the first Thanksgiving." And boom, it just took off. All of that. We finally got to what we're doing. Took off. 9 years later, Sarah Joseph Hale, who was the 19th century Martha Stewart of her day, began advocating to establish an annual national Thanksgiving holiday. Let's see. And then in 1850, they found out about Governor Bradford's account. The timing was perfect, as our divided nation was once again moving towards war. I don't know what it is about war and horrible things that we decide to have Thanksgiving, Hale's message got through to Abraham Lincoln, and in 1863, with the war, Civil War underway, he issued another proclamation, the one that she wanted, arguing that Americans should, here's your quote, take some time for gratitude, end quote. In the midst of the bloodshed of the Civil War, we're just going to stop warring and have a party. What is crucial here is Hale's campaign for the Thanksgiving holiday was explicitly linked to the story of the Pilgrims. And of course, the colorful tale. I'll say colorful tale, and you know that I can use all the words there, but we'll say colorful tale of Thanksgiving, of the first. So I think that we can all agree that both proclamations or declarations wherein the country was at war. And again, I keep wondering, how do we get from the horrible atrocities of war to Thanksgiving? Anyway, while it is tragic what happened back then, it continues to be so as our nation continuously failed to genuinely rectify, repent, or make amends in an attempt to repair the harms of the forefathers. 402 years later, we are about to celebrate that holiday. 402 years has gone by. And although the true history of the three-day event we now call Thanksgiving continues to be revisited and revised, I must admit that there was a celebration that did include the Native Americans. Really quick, according to the Smithsonian Magazine, the arrival of the English separatists in 1620, they came to America seeking religious freedom and a way out of poverty, which is a lot why people still continue to come to this country. Excuse me. They called themselves saints. In fact, the term pilgrims didn't come to, they weren't called pilgrims until 200 years later. They called themselves saints. And they landed in Plymouth in December after being blown off course by storms. And by the spring, the colonists had their first encounter with the Native American Wampanoag people. During that time, the two disparate groups were attempting to find common ground, and by April 1621, they actually signed a treaty, pledging to come to the aid of each other in case of an attack. So they got acquainted. Additionally, the settlers had lost just about half of their people to sickness during the first winter in America, and they were teetering on extinction. And the Wampanoag people had also suffered and been reduced by 90% due to diseases that were introduced by European colonizers, an epidemic that is now referred to as the Great Dying. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't let this get past you. Please do not let it go past you really quick. If there's a group of people, a tribe, a country, and you call something the Great Dying, and you're referring to yourself, it must have been devastating. 90% of your people to illnesses that you never encountered before. It had to be awful. Who are you going to merge with to try and help? Because there were other tribes around and they fought also. So, of course, this impacted and weakened the tribe, who were also in need because they needed to fend off incursions from other rival native nations, the Narragansett, the ones in Rhode Island. Now it had only been 1 year since the arrival of the European, and during the autumn of 1620, as a result, the feast attendees were still learning all about each other. They gathered, they slaughtered deer and fowl and prepared a feast, and they ate. I'm going to close. So in closing today, I encourage you all to remember at your Thanksgiving tables and celebrations that the first feast was probably festive, but what happened after, it adds a darker tone to the holiday for many, if not all, Native Americans, some of whom observe Thanksgiving as a national day of mourning. The Thanksgiving event opened the floodgates, and many kinds of people came over. As a result, the Mayflower became a symbol of European establishment. And after that, true colonization was in force. That included the forced conversions to Christianity, cultural genocide, you can't practice what you've been doing, servitude, and the birth of the doctrine of discovery. The Pilgrims, or saints as they called themselves, attempted to form alliances where all would be safe. They were seeking freedom, and by chance they found it here in America. And what follows and still remains is a travesty of the history of this nation. And one, in my opinion, of our greatest sins is the displacement of the native peoples of this country. Now, I'm not sure if you all have noticed, but monthly we share a line or two in land acknowledgments for and in gratitude and honor of the indigenous people upon whose land we live, breathe, and have our being. I ask you this morning to be generous and offer gratitude for the Native Americans and their legacy at your table, Thanksgiving table this year. As I shared at the start, if we give thanks and gratitude, it will come back to us. We never know when, but I'm still of the mindset that one does reap what they sow. So this morning, I encourage you to acknowledge the Native American, the indigenous people, wherever in the country that you are during the holiday Thanksgiving celebrations. And perhaps you missed it earlier this month when Michelle was our worship associate. She shared the land acknowledgement. And I'm going to repeat it again, and I'm going to go a little slow because we go through it so quick, and we should not be. We should take our time. This is what we say here. We honor and greet the ancestors and descendants of the Calusa people, whose land we are grateful to call our home. We greet you and honor you and your legacy. That's what we say every month. Next time you hear it, read along. Think about it. Let us be generous in our gratitude and give honor where honor is due, and that is at our Thanksgiving table. Friends, my brothers, my sisters, my siblings, I don't think that's too much to ask. I hope you feel the same way. May it be so. Amen and Ashe. How can anyone ever tell you, my brothers, my sisters, my siblings, the indigenous people of this country? How can anyone ever tell you that you're less than whole, absolutely, totally complete, just as you are? If I can apologize and make things wonderful for every one of you, that is my goal. All right, it is time for the offering. And because it is time for the offering, I'm supposed to say something funny. And then after I say the funny thing, you know what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to say a funny thing, you're going to laugh, and then I'm going to get confused because I did not write down the words I'm supposed to say. But you all know what you're supposed to do. So you're basically going to wait for our ushers and or greeters to stand up as soon as the music starts, and they're going to collect the offering. If you are a visitor, that would be the time that you stick your card inside of the basket as it is passing by. Make sure you complete it, though. You don't want an empty card. and write legibly so we can understand. Here is the funny. Let me see. Okay. I picked this joke because of the play that Doug and Diane Cartwright did, and I remembered the last crossword puzzle, or puns. So it's a pun, so it's just one really quick. Here we go. My family told me to stop telling Thanksgiving jokes, but I said I couldn't, because I can't quit cold turkey. But I'm bummed. Okay, follow the instructions. Carlos is gonna do stuff. Oh, do you need help, babe? Oh, he's got it. Okay, ha ha ha. Like he's doing, oh, action. There you go. We might want to move.
Under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time for pain and a time to harvest. In everything there is a season. There a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for there is a time, a season for every purpose under heaven. A time to receive, to love, time to keep, and to give away. And all is beautiful. It is simply beautiful, and all is beautiful.
Yay! I got my papers all mixed up. Oh, here it is. That was beautiful. I have to tell you, I believe our choir is showing off lately. They're just showing off. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Carlos, and thank you, choir. Continue growing. You're like little gremlins, some water gun on you, and it's a good thing. It is a good thing. Cultures of reciprocity. Cultures of gratitude must also be cultures of reciprocity. Each person, human or no, is bound to every other in a reciprocal relationship. Just as all beings have a duty to me, I have a duty to them. If an animal gives its life to feed me, I, in turn, am bound to support its life. If I receive a stream's gift of pure water, then I am responsible for returning the gift in kind. An integral part of humans' education is to know those duties and how to perform them. I guess that's it. Make sure that we know what to do. Give, and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Show men and women, people, give unto your bosom. And remember that the same way that you gave your measure is the same way that you should return, that it will be returned unto you. So give generously and gratefully always. It may not always be money, but it could be your heart. It could be a something gift. Maybe you're creative. Those things mean a great deal. Peace and blessings to all of you this morning, and may you find rest throughout the week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Okay. No need to clap. No need to clap.
Enjoy this lovely Thanksgiving song. Familiar highways lined with leaves turn brown, making my way back into my hometown. Funny how this all looks different, but it feels the same. Like how life never stops changing, but some things never change. So fill your plate and fill your drink, fill your house with family, the kind of love that all these years can't wash away. 'Cause the older that I get, I see that life is short and bittersweet. Thank God for Thanksgiving Day. Yeah. Watching football, watching families grow, the old kids' table all have kids of their own. Starting to see my grandfather in my nephew's eyes. Mom still can't talk about him and not almost cry. So fill your table, fill your drink, fill your house with family, the kind of love 1,000 miles can't wash away. 'Cause the older that I get, I see that life is short and bittersweet. Thank God for Thanksgiving Day. For the labor, the love, the care that gave us the delights of this and every day, we say thanks. For the nourishment of our spirit, the challenges that strengthen us, and the friends we have on the journey, we say thanks. For all that is in our lives, we say thanks. Overflowing with gratitude, let us shout thanks. Amen. So fill your plate and fill your drink. Put your dishes in the kitchen sink. Let the leftover year just wash away. 'Cause we made it through, I do believe, the longest year in history. Thank God for Thanksgiving Day. Yeah. Let's enjoy Thanksgiving. Thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving. And let's eat till our tummies are full, full, full. God bless.
Noisy cane. Whenever I think of reciprocity, which was apparent in the theme, I go back to my 35 years of teaching in Goshen, Indiana. Goshen, Indiana had a rather limited radio station, WKAM. We called it Wacom. And they signed off at midnight and then came back on at 6 o'clock. But they had some fairly uneducated announcers. I remember that one time this announcer was celebrating famous birthdays, and he said, the novelist Joyce Kilmer, who wrote the novel Trees, would celebrate her birthday. Of course, Joyce Kilmer was a man, and Trees was a poem, not a novel. And he also said during this particular broadcast that there was a convicted felon that had escaped to South America, some country, and he said, unfortunately, the United States does not have a reciprocity agreement with this other country. So whenever I see the word reciprocity, I think reciprocity. We thank Albie Johnson for her uplifting message today. We thank Carlos and the choir for the music, Sharon Gray on camera, Ed Elrod on sound, Joe Gayton, our sexton, Joyce Schaefer for our lovely flowers, Nicole Racine and Frank Geltner for the hospitality, and of course our friendly greeters. It's good to be connected in whatever way we can. And now I'd like to invite Lisa Leonhardt to extinguish the chalice, and as she does so, would you please repeat the chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Please join us for coffee and conversation in the social hall, and have a happy, blessed, and generous Thanksgiving.